2 days after the Netflix Devil May Cry anime launched in April 2025, Devil May Cry 5 was outselling Assassin's Creed Shadows and Marvel Rivals on Steam, a 6-year-old game on a platform that never stops releasing new things, climbing above titles with current marketing budgets and active player bases. Engagement across the franchise jumped roughly 40 times prior levels according to tracking at the time, and this was a game that by every standard metric was supposed to be done growing. It had been out since March 2019. It had gone 6 full years of ordinary catalog existence. The thing that broke all of that open was a Netflix show the Devil May Cry hardcore fanbase had spent the better part of a year calling a betrayal. Capcom's press release from June 13, 2025, makes the connection in plain language. The 10 million lifetime milestone arrived due to efforts to enhance brand awareness by leveraging the title beyond the scope of video games, including television adaptations. The show the community tried to kill just saved the franchise, and the man who directed Devil May Cry 5 was executive producer on that adaptation from the beginning. Hideaki Itsuno joined Capcom in 1994 and never really left it for 30 years. He was assigned to rescue the troubled production of Devil May Cry 2 in its final 6 months, then directed DMC3 from scratch in 2005 when, the series genuinely needed to redeem itself after how badly DMC2 had landed, then DMC4, then Devil May Cry 5 in 2019, which was kind of his statement piece, the thing the franchise had been building toward. The game came out to strong reviews. It restored genuine prestige to a series that had wobbled after a divisive 2013 Western reboot, and it moved well at launch. By March 31, 2025, 6 years in, worldwide cumulative sales sat at 9.1 million, which is honestly a healthy catalog number. It's just the flat part of the curve, the long tail where a title grinds forward on organic discovery and the occasional discount until something actually changes. Nothing was changing. The person Capcom handed the adaptation to was Shankar, and he came into it with real credibility in this specific lane. His 2017 Castlevania series on Netflix was the thing that made people stop automatically writing off game adaptations as expensive background content. It ran 4 seasons, won over viewers who had never held a controller, and helped establish the whole wave of premium animated adaptations still running today. Shankar knew what he was doing. He also knew it in a way he didn't always keep to himself, describing the goal as proving the form does not have to be flavorless corporate sludge assembled in a content factory by emotionally vacant brand managers. Which is a true statement, honestly, delivered with the particular energy of someone who finds modesty architecturally inconvenient. The community's complaints when the show launched on April 3rd were actually pretty concrete. Dante felt subdued, more restrained than the gleefully chaotic demon slayer of the games, which turned out to be a deliberate structural choice within Shankar's larger vision, though that framing didn't help much with people who had already made up their minds. The 8-episode first season struck a lot of viewers as short. The show engaged with religious themes in ways the games never really had. Shankar had conceived the whole project as a divine comedy structure, 3 seasons mapped to Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso under the name The Force Edge Saga, which is either genuinely ambitious or a bit much depending on your tolerance for that kind of creative grandiosity. A lot of the existing fanbase landed firmly on the latter. What they weren't accounting for was everyone else. Studio MIR, the South Korean animation house behind The Legend of Korra, handled the visuals, and whatever you think about the writing choices, the show looked extraordinary. Critics gave Season 1 a 93% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences, including a vocal block of longtime fans, came in at 76%, which is that specific gap you get when a minority with pre-existing strong opinions pulls down what a broader crowd is actually feeling on its own. In the first week, the show pulled 5.3 million views and ranked 4th globally in Netflix's English-language shows category. It stayed in Japan's top 10 for 7 consecutive days. Season 1's total view count reached 21.7 million. Season 2, which launched May 12, 2026, added 6.4 million views in under 2 weeks and received 100% from critics across 7 reviews. Netflix announced a 3rd and final season before Season 2 had even finished its run. The audience discovering Devil May Cry through Shankar's show was obviously much larger than the community that already knew it, and most of them had never played a single entry. A meaningful slice went and bought the game. Here is the timing that makes all of this feel kind of designed. Capcom's fiscal year ends March 31st. Devil May Cry 5's worldwide lifetime total on that date, 9.1 million copies. The Netflix anime launched 3 days later, meaning the entire commercial effect of the show falls into the subsequent fiscal period, completely isolated from whatever came before it. It's about as clean and natural experiment as this industry produces. In the quarter ending June 30th, 2025 alone, the game moved 1.78 million copies. That's roughly what the game sold in its entire first year, compressed into 90 days. Capcom's quarterly report is explicit. Devil May Cry 5 saw high demand during the quarter, thanks in part to the release of the Devil May Cry anime from Netflix. The full fiscal year ending March 2026, essentially the anime's first year in the world, saw 2.7 million copies sold. That's the best single year in DMC5's history, better than the launch year, better than any of the 6 years between launch and the anime. The entire Devil May Cry franchise, across all titles since 2001, has sold 33 million units total. Capcom calls their approach the single content multiple usage strategy, which sounds like slide deck language until you see what it actually produces. But here's the part that kind of gets me. It's Yuno served as executive producer on the Netflix adaptation alongside Shankar and Studio MER's Seung-wook Lee. His name and creative involvement sat on the project the fanbase was denouncing in the name of his game. And on August 31st, 2024, 7 months before the anime even launched, Itsuno announced he was leaving Capcom after 30 years and 5 months. He subsequently joined Lightspeed Studios that November. His last meaningful collaboration with the franchise he had spent 3 decades defining was, apparently, this. He left before the quarterly reports, before Capcom's press release, before anyone could show him the Steam charts from April 5th, with his game sitting above Assassin's Creed. Hideki Kamiya, who created the original Devil May Cry back in 2001, briefly got pulled into the discourse when fans tried to recruit him to publicly condemn the adaptation. His response came in 5 words: "I'm not your damn mum." He also told fans to stop coming crying to him about it. So the original creator of the franchise and the director of the specific game the community was supposedly defending were both, as it turned out, declining to participate in the outrage on anyone's behalf. Shankar responded to the final season renewal announcement by calling himself a generational talent and a ratings god, which is either irritating or pretty fair depending on where you think the scoreboard puts him at that point. 3 renewals, escalating critical scores, a direct correlation to a 6-year-old game having its best commercial year on record. Capcom has since designated Devil May Cry a core IP they intend to keep building, which is worth pausing on because there is no new mainline game currently announced. The franchise's prestige right now rests almost entirely on DMC5 and a Netflix show that half the community still doesn't fully endorse. That is, honestly, a genuinely strange position for an IP to be in, and also kind of a gift, because whoever eventually makes the next entry is inheriting an audience that has never actually played these games. People who came in through the anime and have no idea yet what it feels like to juggle an enemy at 60 frames per second. The thing the numbers are telling you, the thing the hardcore community probably doesn't enjoy sitting with, is that the franchise's healthiest commercial moment in years came from losing control of who got to discover it. The people who cared most about Devil May Cry did not save it. The 21 million viewers who had never heard of it did, and all that noise the existing fanbase made, the denouncements and the campaigns and the forum threads, that noise functioned as signal. It told anyone paying attention that there was something real here worth arguing about. A show nobody actually cared about doesn't generate that kind of heat. Itsuno put his name on this project as he was walking out the door after 30 years. Kamiya told the complainers to find someone else. Shankar built the show anyway and watched a 6-year-old game outsell its own launch year. If you want more essays like this one, subscribing really does help, and I'd genuinely love to know in the comments whether you think the hardcore fans had a legitimate point here, or whether numbers like these just settle the argument.